You are now tuned into Flippin' the Birds, a Philly Sports Network podcast.
What's going on, Eagles fans? Welcome all to episode 158 of Flipping the Birds. I'm Brian Cameron alongside Eric Reese, Morgan Burkett, Zach Chavalella, who just came home from the Wells Fargo Center watching the beautiful Sixers win against Djokovic and the freaking
Nuggets.
Yeah, I drew a blank for some reason. And
Yeah,
Morgan just collapsed off.
I don't know what happened to him. I just saw him just shoot right out, but
he'll be
sure
back.
He'll be back on
in
a second for sure.
How was that game, man? I think that
absolutely.
was probably Embiid's best performance I've ever, and then at least my favorite that I've seen. That was a heck of a game.
In all honesty, it may have been, the best individual performance that I've seen live. Like it in terms of basketball at least, but it was. I mean, if you felt the vibe from the first half versus the vibe from the second, like. Nuggets scored 75 points, Sixers down 15. Like everything looked, hope was lost. And then Embiid led the way. Harris, Tucker, Harden stepped up. It was crazy. Everyone down at the Wells Fargo Center was going nuts. So it was a crazy time down there. I was just blessed to be down there and to talk to the guys post game. So it was awesome.
We're actually blessed to have you on because to get from that game to this, to translate from
hustle.
Sixers Eagles. Yeah. It's a lot. So, we appreciate you coming
all in a day's work, boys. All in a day's work.
For sure. It's a hustle.
But speaking of on a day's work, we're a day away from the big game, guys. NFC Championship. We didn't have a chance to recap the Eagles Giants, but I feel like there's not much to recap in that regard. It was a hell of a game, a blowout on our part. And we're getting ready to face the San Francisco 49ers. And at the 8:30 mark, we'll be joined by Nick Newman, who a lot of you may have seen him kind of ranting about the Eagles 49ers matchup. And it's a lot of bad blood going on right now on Twitter. I mean, it's weird. It's coming from every angle too. Like it's Eagle fans, it's 49ers, it's 49ers players. I haven't heard nothing out of the Eagles players, which I fully I'm actually shocked of. Like you haven't heard my loud answer back to Nick Bosa. You haven't heard anybody answer back to Debo Samuel saying that what is it? What is their stadium? Levi Stadium?
Mm-hmm.
That they're louder than the Link, even though that's definitely not true. You haven't heard much from the Eagles camp, which is great. It speaks volumes to the leadership of Jalen Hurts and Nick Sirianni, that whole staff, that whole organization, and as a whole. I don't want to preview too much of the 49ers. Just because we have Nick coming at 8:30, but we do got to talk about something. I mean, how you guys feeling about this? This is years in the making. 2 years ago, this wasn't supposed to happen. This was supposed to be a rebuild. This was a retool. Jalen Hurts was supposed to be Taysom Hill 2.0. Jalen Hurts was supposed to get traded for Russell Wilson, Deshaun Watson. Eagles were not supposed to be anything this year. Dallas Cowboys were expected to win an NFC East this year. Jalen Hurts is the quarterback of the future, hands down, and possibly a generational kind of player. I mean, how's everybody feeling right now? I'm losing my mind. I'm not gonna lie, I'm losing my shit over here.
I'm gonna put it one way to you very quickly and very easily. We can build.
We're gonna end the pod after that.
We can if you like. No, this could be a short one, but I want to put it one way to you, and we can build off of it any which way, any which direction the rest of the podcast. But the Philadelphia Eagles run at a Super Bowl will not end from a fan base that likes a turkey cheesesteak. So that's it. I saw that video today with the 49ers.
You got to break that down for me.
Yeah, I saw a video today with the 49ers fans, and they were being interviewed by, I guess, local media in Philadelphia. And there's a fan out there, and she's like, oh, yeah, we just had turkey cheesesteaks. And I was just like, dog. You came in here trying to, quote unquote, invade Philadelphia, and you went to Xfinity Live, everybody's premier visiting, fan sports bar. And what you did is you just invited everybody to lunch. Like you just told everybody that there was a turkey cheesesteak on the menu. That's your invasion. Yo, like Eagles by 50, Brock Purdy's injured. That's it.
It's too early to give predictions, Eric. I know that's your favorite part, but
Well,
I need to show you wrong.
I'll think of a better score later, but maybe not by 50, but enough.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it does feel different than the last. Like we want to compare it to the last time the Eagles were in this position, right? But it does feel different. I mean, one, we kind of have that big win kind of off our backs. I think last time we played Atlanta, it was it was a close game. We weren't sure how well the Eagles would do with Nick Foles, and this one it just feels like one. I think a lot of it kind of last time was from the outside in. It was almost as if like the Philly fan base was willing that team to figure it out, and they did. And obviously there's something special going on in that locker room, but it almost feels this year just feels expected. Like this is where the Eagles were supposed to be this season. And obviously that wasn't for sure. Like coming into the season, we didn't know that this was the team. But I think that, like if this team loses, for example, obviously we hope they don't. But if this team loses, then this is the goal for next year. Whereas before it was like, okay, like we kind of had captured lightning in a bottle and like we weren't sure how that was going to go. Torrey Smith isn't going to have the season he's going to have again. Corey Clement isn't going to have the Super Bowl he had again. Nick Foles isn't going to recapture that glory. But this just feels like this is what this team is, where this team is supposed to be at. And if they can retain pieces, then this should be the new norm, which is like, again, it's kind of likening back to what we had said last Super Bowl. Like this is what we should be used to. It took a couple of years, but it feels as if this franchise is ready to finally like cement themselves. And the 49ers, again, like it's a great team. They've kind of captured lightning in a bottle. So it's almost the narrative's flipped. Is like Brock Purdy, no one has tape on him. He's kind of coming out of nowhere. Mr. Irrelevant. Granted, probably the most stacked roster in the NFL outside of potentially the Eagles. It's definitely the two best teams in the NFC, if not the NFL, competing in this game. But it just feels a bit different. It feels like, like you got a son that's supposed to be good at sports and you're going to see his first game and, you want him to be real good. Whereas last time it was like, I don't really know if he's good or not. Let's figure it out. Let's see what he does. And then he hits his first three. You're like, okay, we might have something here. Whereas now it feels like, he's good. He's maybe dunked on you at home, but you won't tell anybody that. And now you're just watching him kind of like get that monkey off his back and actually do what they're supposed to do.
So it feels like the standard, pretty much. Like this is what.
I don't want to go that far because those
it just feels normal right
seem
now. Like
this is the new standard. I don't want to put that out there, but it does feel as if this team is, it's just this is the job. This is what it's supposed to happen. This is just getting your work done.
Yeah, I would agree. I would say it feels like we belong. There was that, huge underdog mentality the first time around back in 2017, and Philly really fed into that. Chris Long, who actually rang the bell for the Sixers game tonight, which was awesome. He was really into that, obviously, as well with the masks and everything. Philly really kind of embodied that, and I feel like there's still that attempt to try and reignite that same fire because it's what we know. It's Philadelphia, but I think that there is just when you look nationally, and you're going to get some big names who are going to say some stupid things that are just
all the big names.
You could argue for hours. You could argue for hours about it, but when you look at like a lot of the members of the national media, like at least compared to 2017, like it seems as though more people are aware that this is a legitimate contender, and potential. I mean, they're the Super Bowl like favorite according to Vegas. Like, I mean, that is huge. That's a huge difference from 2017, and I think, yeah, Morgan, kind of exactly like you said, that was a good analogy when you talked about the different dynamics, parent and child. And, I think it really is the case where there's so much more of a known commodity this time around as opposed to 17. And, I think that compared to expectations at the beginning, like there's still that little bit of, well, if it doesn't work out, tomorrow, like there's of course going to be disappointment. Anytime the Eagles were to lose, there would be disappointment. But at the same time, I think you're right. That mentality is all right, well, let's go back and get here and beyond next year, because that's the kind of team that the Eagles now have. That's the coaching staff the Eagles have. They have the franchise quarterback. Yeah, there's a lot of pieces that are probably going to be leaving, or at least potentially could leave in free agency, but Philadelphia is a destination for players, and we got to have faith in Howie Roseman that he knows who to add, because, well, he's proven that he knows who to add. So I think there really is that feeling of belonging for the Philadelphia Eagles this time around. And I think that's actually given me a sense of comfort. I know, again, like I said, that underdog mentality is pretty typical in Philadelphia, but the 49ers are a great team. So it's not going to be easy, but having that feeling of comfortability, I think, has given me a lot better feeling about the game, a lot more confidence about the game. And while I don't think it's going to be a blowout either, I do think we're looking at a Birds win, but we'll get to more on that later.
And just to kind of piggyback what you and Morgan was saying, so like, and correct me at any point if you guys feel like I'm wrong, but me personally, if the Eagles somehow lose this game, yeah, of course it's disappointing, like, because your team's out of it. I get it, but it's exciting because, like, yo, this team made it. You got AJ Brown locked in for another 4 years. You got Devontae Smith for another 4 years. You have Jalen Hurts, who's going to get locked down for another 5 to 6 years. Like, your core, your nucleus is locked in. And then, what you do with Gardner Johnson, which I think he stays in Philly just because of how everything's working out. This team could be good for the next couple years. Like, we could honestly see for the next couple years the early 2000 versions of the Eagles, where McNabb and them were always in the NFC Championship. We could honestly see that at this point. And what's even better about it is, like, what's more exciting as a football fan is you can see the Eagles and 49ers battling every year now. Like, these teams are young. These teams have a young nucleus in almost every aspect of their depth chart. So now you can see these teams battling now, where you have a possible historical dynamic where it's like Eagles and 49ers, we expect them to be here and we expect this to happen. They're like, you have your NFC version of the Bills and Chiefs, in my opinion. Yeah, Purdy doesn't give the fireworks of Josh Allen, but you have these rosters that are more dynamic, in my opinion, than the Bills and the Chiefs. Like, they're stacked from top to bottom. Defensively, you can name like 4 or 5 players on a 49ers team, and we're Eagles fans. 49ers fans can name 4 to 5 players on our defense because these guys are Pro Bowlers. Like, it's just how these teams are built, and I'm in agreement with you guys, where it's kind of like, if they win or if they lose, it is what it is. But the future, the future is actually bright. This isn't like the New York Mets. Like, you win, you go to the World Series 2015, and you shit the bed every other year. Like, this future is actually bright as hell. Where, like, the next 5 years, we're going to get 1 to 2 Super Bowls guaranteed.
I think that's
I got to agree that the Mets do suck. But Eric, go on with your point.
Whoa. I was going to say, and
Eric was going to jump on that same wagon. That's why he came firing too. Look at him.
I was like, man, that actually makes a lot of sense. Dang, I wish I thought of that. No, I think what you're saying, and it makes a total sense as far as the Eagles and their trajectory probably over the next 3 to 4 years, is actually, I look at the 4 teams remaining in these playoffs, and I think that they're, that's the top 4, that's the elite of the NFL over the next, kind of the same time frame that over the next 3 to 4 years as well. So you kind of look at the Eagles right now this season, seeing how far they go, if defeating the 49ers, because I'm not defeating them creeping to the universe. So defeating the 49ers and winning the Super Bowl, that will let you know right there that the Eagles are here to stay and be a legitimate top dog and contender. It'll put away anything that says pretender. It puts anything that says in a way that says this year is a
lightning in the bottle.
I guess, lightning in the bottle in a sense, because in a sense, I do think that the regular season was not that hard as far as the opponents, at least on paper. But it's also because you saw how this team just morphed in front of your eyes from, like, last year. Okay, they made the playoffs to being, like, downright dangerous. So once you saw that morph, you looked at the rest of the the schedule, and you're like, oh man, that's a win, that's a win, that's a win. If you can outright just do it this year, that just means that the Philadelphia could be a dynasty, quite frankly.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
It feels like to me? It feels like, I don't know about you guys. I don't know how you guys did your Madden experience, but for me, when in franchise mode, it's almost like it was it's not always a given. I don't want to put that in the atmosphere, but like you knew you're always going to compete. You're good on the sticks, and the exciting part. And I don't want to look past the Super Bowl. That's always big. But the exciting part is just seeing how stacked you can get your team through the draft and through all that stuff. Like we haven't really seen the Kobe Dean. We haven't really seen Jordan Davis full time.
And they still have 2 first-round picks.
They still have 2
coming up.
first-round picks. You know, we don't know who they're going to re-sign, but whoever it is still like the fact that a lot of the players that are coming up for their contract years are still on the up and coming is pretty crazy. And obviously the Eagles probably won't be able to retain everyone. And the only reason why we're filling this space is really just because they dismantled the Giants, right? And so we don't have to talk about that for the first half an hour because you're supposed to win in your division. Not only did the Eagles win in their division, they went out and they did it again in the playoffs against an opponent that, you know, just beat the second best team in the NFC, the third best, I guess. But, you know, I think obviously 49ers are a better team than the Vikings are. But, you know, for a long time, it was the Vikings that were number 2. And they just dismantled them. And the Eagles just, you know, showed everyone that they're the kings of the division. You know, Dallas, again, like, they just fired half their staff, it seems like. They don't know what's going on, right? And that's what you're supposed to do is you get the playoffs every single year if you beat your division. And the Eagles just did it 7 times this year. Well, no, I mean they lost twice, but like really, you know, they played 7 times this year. Washington had a little stumble. Dallas, who cares about the Dallas game? You know, Gardner Minshew did his best.
Yeah,
so it's like one of those things where it's like if you can just kind of just franchise mode it and just keep getting more and more stacked, it's just gonna steamroll. And the Eagles, like, I don't know who's gonna be in a better position this year, you know, outside of the cap. And it's almost crazy to think of that. Like, as Eagles fans, we don't ever worry about the cap because how we figure out a way. Like, everyone's probably staying in the cap. I don't know how much we're under. Like, I don't even need to know that anymore. You know, like,
it doesn't matter. Like, cap doesn't
matter.
exist in Philly. It doesn't exist.
Right.
We
So
ate
what
Carson
matters
Wentz's contract. It don't exist.
Yeah. What matters is we got 2 first-round picks. We got 2 guys in last year's draft that aren't even full-time starters yet. That probably could be starting for, you know, 25 of the teams in the NFL, if not more. And we're in the NFC Championship game.
Mm-hmm.
And on top of the way that he maneuvers the cap, it's just like, look at the players who would probably, if they win a cup, I'm talking hockey, here we go. If they win a Super Bowl this year, like, how many would retire and how many would just kind of just evaporate off the cap? You know, like Jason Kelce, I guarantee if we win a Super Bowl this year, Jason Kelce probably is not going to be sticking around. But by doing that, you have a offensive line that becomes younger, and it's also cheaper. But the quality is still there
on offense. You already have his understudy on the roster. That's the crazy.
Correct. So everything's like always in order in Philadelphia. Where like even if you're like, oh, Philadelphia, they didn't win, they're falling behind. They're not that far behind. Like, don't blink.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So we're gonna Nick on in the 6 minutes, right? So try to cram this into the 6 minutes. I want to get your point of view on this as well. Jalen Hurts. Nick Sirianni came out saying like, "Hey, having Jalen Hurts out there, it's like having Michael Jordan," and I don't disagree. And when I said earlier that Jalen Hurts is a generational type of player, like there's no guy in the NFL like him.
Mm-hmm.
If you actually think about it, like there's no quarterback in the NFL like Jalen Hurts. He has a never say die attitude. One, he has a I'm not here for your bullshit attitude too. He doesn't care about the fun and games. He cares about distractions. He just wants to come, work, play, win. That's all that matters. I mean, the other player that's like that, you know, it's Tom Brady. And I'm not going to compare him to Brady, but what I'm saying is, like, how do you guys feel about Jalen Hurts going forward? Like, where do you stack? Like, to me, like, he's in a class by himself. Is he better than Mahomes? No. But there's aspects of Jalen's game where he actually is better than Mahomes, and he's a better leader than Mahomes as well. And, you know, going down Josh Allen, Joe Burrow, whoever's after that, like, going forward, where do you guys see Jalen in the league?
Yeah, I mean, I think you kind of hit the nail on the head there. You talked about, you know, intangibles. You talked about leadership. You know, that's, I think, what Hurts brings to the table. Not that the other guys don't, but it's just next level. Like, I mean, you can tell the Bengals love Burrow, you know, but you're right. It's different. You know, it's not even just better, but it's different. You know, it's more focused. It's something that's really, it's really unique. You know, I don't even know that Brady had this same type, you know, and again, I'm not saying it's a better focus, a better set of intangibles, a better leadership skill. I'm just saying it's different. Like, I don't know that there's anyone I don't even know that Michael Jordan's an apt comparison because Michael Jordan was a jackass. Like I don't know what and he was the greatest basketball player of all time. But like,
how about Kobe? Like I would honestly compare him.
Yeah,
with
Kobe. I think
mentality.
there is that similar comparison. And the only thing I would say is that he's like a likable Kobe. Which is like if you merge Tyrese Maxey, right, who's the NBA darling, at least in Philadelphia he is, and Kobe Bryant's mentality, he's focused and dedicated like Kobe, but at the same time, he's really got his guys back. He's Kobe was about the team, yeah, but Kobe, was also not he was quick to say
was Kobe
who was
first,
the problem.
The Lakers second.
See, for me,
even that.
For me, he's Kawhi that didn't grow up in Compton. Like, you know what I mean? Like, if you ever listen to Kawhi's interviews, he's not weak. Like, Kawhi's a bit out of there. Yeah. But anytime it's oh man, do you do this on the weekend? He's I don't have fun on the weekend.
Yeah,
he's that kind of focus. You know what I mean? He's just I watch football on the weekend. That's what I do.
No, for sure. And you love to hear that out of your quarterback, and it's just, it's the kind of thing where there's no, how can anyone have a problem with the guy? I that's what I don't understand. There were times where you could critique the throwing skill. That was it. The arm skill, the arm talent. That was it. And then he really proved himself this year. And so guys like Dan Sileo, they don't really have a leg to stand on, even though they still keep trying to make Chris Sims. Type of argument that I don't even understand what it is. Chris Sims, another guy. I don't even understand what the argument is anymore, but it is what it is. But there's just nothing to not like about the guy. He's enigmatic. He's he could be whatever. He could be leading a freaking Bed Bath and Beyond, as a manager, and that staff would follow him in a Mordor. It could be literally anything on the planet. It's another guy's, little thing there, but
I want that to be a movie right now.
Yeah, it was amazing. I would watch Jalen Hurts do just about anything. If he works retail, if he
is he the new age Chuck
a
Norris?
School trip for kids?
Is that what Jalen Hurts is?
Honestly, there's a factor of it that where it's this. He's a freaking legend. That's it. You can't ignore it. Just his personality. How can you not? That's why I don't understand people at all who because the people against him, they don't even have anything tangible. Because again, it's not like you can critique the arm talent anymore. He's maybe not the best arm talent in the league, but he's very, very good. He's up efficient. There with some of the better. Yeah, he's got one of the better deep balls in the entire league now too, which was something that was a critique of his. The way that it wasn't the arm strength per se, but it was the mechanics hindering the arm strength and all that. But he's gotten over that effectively. So how can you not like Jalen Hurts? How can you not even be behind? If you're a fan of another team, whatever, but to objectively have something against Jalen Hurts, I don't get it, man. He's special.
Jalen Hurts do push-ups. Do Jalen Hurts.
If you compare this to the last time the Eagles were pushing for a Super Bowl with Carson Wentz, now having Jalen Hurts and looking back at what Carson Wentz was, you're just wow, dude. It actually makes you regret having Carson Wentz. It's insane. It's insane the growth and the difference this team is. It's I think more in 2017 you capture lightning in a bottle where I'm looking at this going, this isn't lightning in a bottle. This isn't a mistake. This team is this good. We have the best 4 teams in the NFL, and the Eagles are one of them. We're elite.
I completely agree with that. So let's talk about the should we consider them the second best team, the third best team in the NFL? Maybe the fourth best team, Nick. I don't know how you feel about that, man. Listen, I stumbled upon your video on Eagles Twitter, dude. You're going off saying the Eagles are not a jerk. Now, which, hey, I respect it, right? Everybody has their own perspective. But welcome to the show, dude. First and foremost, there are no rules. Say what you want, speak your mind. Don't even worry about it. We don't judge.
All good.
Second rule is it's the first rule. There are no rules. But yeah, welcome to the show, man.
Hey, thank you guys for having me on. I appreciate it, Brian. Thanks for reaching out.
Hey, man, I appreciate you coming on, honestly, man, making time for us on a Saturday night.
Oh, of course, my pleasure.
Mm-hmm. How you feeling?
I'm feeling good. Game-wise, I'm excited. Tomorrow's going to be a good game. We got 2 of the top teams in the NFC. Both teams deserve to be here, and it's going to be a slugfest tomorrow. I'm looking forward to it.
Mm-hmm. Do you live in San Francisco or are you somewhere else?
Yeah, no, I'm in San Francisco.
Okay.
Do you think the NFC game is as talented as the AFC game? Like, who do you think? Do you think that whoever comes out of the AFC is going to be the equivalent of whoever loses this game?
Not necessarily. I personally think that the NFC is deeper on both sides. Like when you look outside the quarterback position between the 49ers and Eagles, I think they are much more complete football teams than the Chiefs and the Bengals. But what sets the Chiefs and the Bengals apart, especially opposed to the 49ers, right? Because Brock Purdy, the jury's still not completely out on him. Yes, this is crazy what's going on with him, and it's like a Hollywood Disney dream story. But, I still don't know if I believe in Brock. I don't know. I'm just enjoying the ride right now and just seeing what he does. And each game you're seeing more and more of what this can potentially be, right? And I keep holding my breath and biting my tongue like, is this dude legit? Is he real? I mean, he was the last freaking pick of the draft, excuse me. So I think what separates the NFC from the AFC is that both teams, the Niners and Eagles, are loaded on both sides of the ball, absolutely loaded. But where I think the Chiefs and the Bengals can play catch up a little bit is that the quarterback position with Joe Burrow and Patrick Mahomes if he's healthy. And then, of course, I think Jalen Hurts, from a talent perspective, is much more talented than Brock Purdy. So I think he closes the gap there a little bit. But yeah, I don't necessarily think whoever wins this game is going to go on to win the Super Bowl. There's still another game to be played. Patrick Mahomes is elite. We'll see how that ankle holds up. Joe Burrow is playing fantastic football. The Bengals are rolling right now, too. They're on a crazy win streak, just like the Niners. So I don't think it's as black and white as whoever wins this game is going to win the Super Bowl. But we got 4 great football teams finishing out the championship weekend.
Speaking of those other teams on the AFC side, which one do you think is the most threatening to the NFC?
Oh, well, the Niners lost firsthand to the Chiefs this season. So I know when they're rolling, they are rolling. And if their defense can get going and Chris Jones can start pressuring from the interior, the Chiefs are dangerous. That's going to be a great game tomorrow. I just hope I'm in a mindset to watch it and enjoy it, because I'm sure you guys feel the same way. If the Eagles lose, if the Niners lose, whichever way it goes, that game is just going to be unbearable to watch. I'll be soaking in sorrows if it goes the other way for us,
So we gotta talk about the elephant in the room, right? Purdy's undefeated so far, and this all starts. Niners have won 12 in a row. You're coming into not use it especially, but I mean the 49ers are coming into Philly, the most, and I'll say this, proudly, the most hostile environment in the league. I don't care what Debo said, Nick. I really don't care. Philly is one of a kind, and sometimes it's not praised about, but it's hostile. And what is likelihood that you like, what is your confidence level that the 49ers can actually win their 13th in a row? Like, there's a lot. That's pressure, dude. Like 12 in a row, and then your rookie quarterback. Like
the first thing I want to say is just I keep hearing. I have never experienced Philadelphia from a sporting perspective. I never visited the city, but that's all I keep hearing is how hostile it is over there. And last year, dude, I went to the wild card game in Dallas. I went to the NFC Championship game in LA, but it's a little different because the stadium wise, it was like 50-50 Niner fan, Rams fans, right? And I'm so jealous that I'm not out there in Philadelphia. I was this close. I had my Expedia trip lined up just yesterday. I was like, I have to go to this game. I don't care if I spend 36 hours in Philadelphia. I mean, I'm a season ticket holder with the Niners. I went to Mexico City for the game out there. I followed the team closely, and I feel like obligated. Like I should be out in Philadelphia right now. I want to be in the belly of the beast because I keep hearing about.
It's literally the belly of the beast.
I keep hearing about how this is Philadelphia. We're built different out here. There's posts on Facebook. I saw that we're going to show them how classless we are. We take pride in being classless out here. I don't know if you guys feel that way, but I'll pull up the Facebook.
No, not really.
There are some Facebook posts that I saw. I was like, if you see someone wearing a Niner uniform, you make sure you give them 4 quarters of hell and regret that they ever stepped into the link. And we'll, so I see that and I hear it.
That's like one in every 30 Eagle fans.
But definitely, it's definitely going to be a hostile environment for Brock Purdy. And even looking back at his time at the collegiate level, he didn't have games where you're playing a game of this magnitude against a fan base like that. Like maybe the situation's so different right now, right? We're talking about a trip to the Super Bowl. That's what's at stake. But he did have that game in Seattle. Say what you want about the Seattle team this year. the 12s. I can't stand Seattle, by the way. Like I don't know who you guys hate, the Cowboys, the Giants. Like that's how I feel about Seattle. I'm 27, so I don't have that same intensity with the Cowboys Niners rivalry. I hate Seattle. So going up there with Brock Purdy, Thursday Night Football, primetime game, division on the line. This is, week 15. That was a pretty big win for him in that kind of environment, because you could say what you want about the Seahawks. They were supposed to be a team drafting in the top 5. Geno Smith was supposed to just, be a placeholder, and he looked good this year. So say what you want about the team, but the environment, that's a tough environment to win in. Now, is it Philadelphia with a Super Bowl trip on the line? No, but it's something, So, my confidence level, I just know that there's 60 minutes of football to be played, and the team that avoids turnovers and can play the best defensively, makes that one big play, that's what's going to happen. That's who's going to win. I mean, this game is literally a coin flip. It's a coin flip, and the Eagles are at home, and that's what pisses me off. So I'm known with the Niners community as being the guy that posts the emotional videos after the game, the raw, the uncut, just like that's how you guys found me, right? I was in my car, and I keep seeing Marcus Spears. There's a margin, there's a huge gap between the Niners and Eagles talent-wise. And I'm like, whoa, okay, both teams are here for a reason. We lost to the Bears during a monsoon. Justin Fields has a fluke play on 3rd and 15, finds Dante Pettis. We lost to the Bronx. We have a lot of bad losses that happened literally over 4 months ago almost. We're on a 12-game heater right now. We're playing great ball. But I'm bummed that this game is in Philadelphia and not Santa Clara, because when you're in a tight game like that, that could really well boil down to the home environment, just giving them the edge,
I think you hit it right on the head too about the turnovers. For me, that's the only, and I do believe that Philadelphia is the better team here and should win tomorrow. So this is why I'm saying that if Philadelphia were to lose, I do believe that it would be absolutely because of turnovers, and it's because Philadelphia's really beaten themselves no matter who starting. But when Jalen Hurts has lost, look at that Commanders game. There are so many things that, if it just excuse a turnover, or you just, don't do that penalty at the very end, because there was 2 minutes left, or roughly 2 minutes left on the clock, I still was confident that Philadelphia was going to come back and beat the Commanders if they got the ball back there. It does come down to the turnovers, and Philadelphia is pretty much fully healthy. So it's one of those scenarios where
even.
It might really come down to exactly what you said, turnovers and playing in an environment. And Philadelphia, I don't know what the spread is, what the odds are in Vegas. Is it, what's the favorite?
2.5. I've seen it 2.5 too.
That seems about right. It does seem about right. I think it could come down to Jake Elliott kicking a game winner.
I'm curious, Nick. Obviously, as Eagles fans, we don't see as much of the behind the scenes stuff. You talk about the emotion. We always talk about the intangibles on Jalen Hurts and just how he leads this team. One question for you. You talked about kind of college with Brock Purdy and maybe not playing at that stage, and then kind of coming in. You don't really have time to think about it. He's, a rookie, gets thrust into the role. Do you think that kind of plays in his benefit of, he's got nothing to lose. He's kind of playing similar again with that Philly run in 2017 that we're so used to. We're the first number 1 seed to be the underdogs and stuff like that. So do you think there's kind of that mentality in San Francisco? And also, as a leader, what kind of leader is Brock Purdy? What does he bring to the table that you've done?
Yeah, that's a great question. One of the things that I hate hearing, and a very small portion of the fan base suggests this, but it's this season's house money. It's house money because we weren't Brock Purdy. Everyone threw the season out the window when Jimmy Garoppolo got hurt, and we found out he was going to be out for the season. So to me, it's no, we're here now. We're here. You're knocking on the door of a Super Bowl appearance. All that goes out the window. Brock Purdy has done enough to show he belongs and can keep this team alive and afloat and can function the offense. And I like the kid. I really do. I mean, he's even just removing the fact that he was Mr. Irrelevant out of the equation. Just if you take away the feel good, everybody passed on him. Literally, he was the last pick of the draft. Even just taking that away, the way he conducts himself on the field, he plays with a lot of swag, a lot of moxie. He carries him. So he's a fiery dude, and he's not the tallest guy. He's about 6'1". He's undersized, playing the quarterback position a little bit, so similar to Jalen Hurts, minus the crazy athleticism. But you see the shiftiness in his game that we didn't have with Jimmy Garoppolo. And with Trey Lance, Kyle Shanahan called a completely different game for Trey Lance. And it was pretty frustrating to watch from the perspective of a fan because it wasn't his normal offense. He's running the guy QB power like he's Cam Newton nonstop. But Brock Purdy, you'll see it tomorrow. Hopefully you'll see it tomorrow. There's a lot of subtleties in his game where there was this one play against the Seahawks. I don't know if you guys done it. He did a back shoulder rollout to his right, kind of pump faked. The defender jumped, he ducked under, and this, like, he's running all over the field like he's Johnny Manziel at College Station. And he throws a dime to Brandon Ayuk in the back corner of the end zone, and he drops it. This is when we were already up 17 points. But it was literally a Patrick Mahomes-esque play where if that play was completed, it would have, like, blown up. Like, it was that crazy. Like, he's just very shifty and savvy with the ball. He's creative. He's a creative guy. The team really rallies around him. And he's been doing a really good job pushing the ball down the field, which is something Jimmy Garoppolo could not do. Right. And Trey Lance never really had the opportunity to do. So, this isn't house money anymore. This is the real deal. And Brock Purdy's been stepping up. He's been doing enough. He didn't look too good against Dallas in the first half. I think playing that type of defense is a good thing going into tomorrow because Philadelphia's defense is outstanding. And I think kind of getting hit in the mouth a little bit by Dallas is going to help us out. And we also struggle to contain mobile quarterbacks, as most NFL teams do. Mm-hmm. And we were getting burnt by Marcus Mariota earlier in the season. And I'm happy that happened, reflecting on it, because it's like you have all this game film right now to show exactly what not to do when you're trying to contain Jalen Hurts. And that's a much harder athlete to control than Marcus Mariota at these stages of their career.
So looking from your perspective, before we kind of dive into more 49ers, what is your opinion on Jalen Hurts?
I like Jalen Hurts. I think I have nothing against him. I mean, I thought what happened in Alabama was a little shitty, having Tua Tagovailoa come in and replace him. Then he bounces and does great things at Oklahoma. I like him. He's a great draft pick, second-round draft pick. Just kind of no one expected him to be able to do this early in his career, I believe. And he looked great last year. He looks great right now. There's a lot to like with Jalen Hurts, and I think he can be the quarterback for the Eagles for the next decade or so if you want to pay him. That's the big thing now. Like, do you really want to pay these quarterbacks because they take up so much of your cap space? You can't really build that team around them. Maybe we'll find out if Jalen Hurts has worked at like Patrick Mahomes type contract where he just elevates everybody around you so much that he's worth paying that money. Mm-hmm. But I think you exercise. Well, you don't have a fifth-year option because he was a second-round pick. But I think that I like him. I like Jalen Hurts a lot.
I would ask you outright, if you could just add Jalen Hurts to your roster, right? Would Jalen Hurts be the best quarterback on your team?
Yes. Oh yeah, okay. Absolutely. No, definitely, yeah.
Because I say that and I agree, with you 100%. I don't think it's a contest, but there are like some people who've, who specifically been on, who's kind of.
Are you talking about Chris Sims?
No. I'm talking about like
Daniel Jones thing.
I'm also talking about fans about the Daniel Jones thing. There was, I think it was a video. I think maybe Barstool put it out, and of course, it's a bunch of drunk fans, but they're really trying to defend Daniel Jones. And to me, I'm thinking like even if I was drunk, I would be like, no, Jalen Hurts is better. Mm-hmm. like there's no way. So I'm happy that you were just like, yes.
So here's the thing though, like, if you're to tell me, if I'm starting my own franchise, I have my own head coach, I can pick any between Brock Purdy, Jimmy Garoppolo, Trey Lance, Jalen Hurts. I'm taking Jalen Hurts, no brainer. Now, where it gets a little tricky is that Kyle Shanahan has the reputation around here of being Mr. Ego, right? Like, this is his offense. He wants all the credit. He doesn't want the quarterback position playing outside what he designs it to do. So there's not as much freedom. Whereas if you bring in a guy like Lamar Jackson or Jalen Hurts that has the ability to extend plays and kind of go off script, it's been rumored that Kyle Shanahan doesn't really like that stuff. And the reason why he has such, like, even look at numbers like Nick Mullins. Nick Mullins has one of the highest yards per attempt. Right. Kyle Shanahan just has a way to manufacture an offense where you can put almost any quarterback behind there and they're going to put up decent numbers, right? Now, Brock Purdy, that's not a knock on Brock Purdy because I see Brock Purdy's game and he offers a hell of a lot more. But that's why I just don't think you can plug in any quarterback and then they're going to translate, because Kyle Shanahan is very specific on what he wants the quarterback position to do. But if you're asking me who's the better quarterback with no ties to the coach, just in general, Jalen Hurts, absolutely.
And I guess additionally, speaking of quarterbacks on the roster, how does Brock Purdy's performance recently, I guess, affect the quarterback picture for San Francisco moving forward?
Okay, so it's going to be really interesting. I think Brock Purdy's done enough to solidify himself as quarterback one going into the offseason, like throughout training camp. Like I would be shocked if Brock Purdy was not the starting quarterback week 1. And Trey Lance, he's kind of on that Jordan Love path right now. I just feel so bad for the kid, because he gets hurt. This was his team. He didn't play that bad in Chicago. The elements were just what was really shitty about it, because the second half you fall behind. There's literally a monsoon. Like there's not much you can do. I don't know if you guys have seen that game, but it was brutal. Like you cannot play quarterback or just do anything, especially trying to play catch up. You're down 10 points and just starts dumping like that. But he's definitely behind the 8 ball. I saw that if they trade him June 1st, it comes like an $18 million cap hit. So they're a dead cap. So they're not going to trade him until after June 1st. But at that point, it's like, you might as well let him and Brock Purdy kind of duke it out. So my guess is that Purdy comes back as QB1, has a competition with Trey Lance. Jimmy Garoppolo signs elsewhere, maybe the Titans or another QB needy team. I'd hate for him to go to the Texans, but
bringing it back to tomorrow's game, talking about that offense. There's probably a lot of answers to this question. Last time the Eagles played the 49ers, I remember it was Brandon Ayuk that was the guy with the hurdle, and I think he had 2 touchdowns that game. But who do you think is kind of the catalyst for this offense for this game? Obviously, you kind of have a lot of weapons, but who do you think is going to be that really breaks the game open?
So, and this goes back to the video, how you guys found me in the first place. I really don't think that there's a team comparable weapons-wise that you guys have played so far this season, right? And just Christian McCaffrey was a massive in-season acquisition, right? Because we're pretty much undefeated since he's been in the starting lineup. We lost that first game against the Chiefs where he played 20, 25% of the snaps. Then you got Deebo Samuel, Brandon Ayuk, George Kittle. Brock Purdy has resurrected the receiving career of George Kittle. He's been kind of a blocker. He's always been a great blocker, but since Brock Purdy has got into the lineup, he has 8 touchdowns with Purdy. He eclipsed double-digit receiving touchdowns for the first time in his career. So it's tough to pinpoint who's going to be the key factor. Where I think the key factor and what benefits the 49ers in this game is Kyle Shanahan. I think the coaching combination of Kyle Shanahan and DeMeco Ryans edges out Nick Sirianni and Gannon. Is that your defensive coordinator? Yep. Gannon. I think there's a little bit of an edge there. That's what I'm really intrigued to see, because I think Kyle Shanahan, if he's in his bag, and I'm not a huge analytic guy, and I think I'm a simple eye test guy. I see what I see on the field. I don't need to dig so far into it. But I did see an interesting stat where the Eagles are one of the worst teams EPA-wise when they're defending a team that when there's pre-snap motion. So when there's team going back and forth, that's what the 49ers do best. So that's something I'm interested in seeing. Again, I'm not super into stats like that, but that caught my eye. It's tough to pinpoint just because there are so many weapons. Is it going to be A.J. Brown, or is it going to be Devontae Smith, Dallas Goedert, Miles Sanders? Is it going to be Jalen Hurts with his legs? When you have so many weapons, it can be anybody stepping up. And I think that's what makes the Eagles and Niners both so dangerous and why they're the 2 teams left in the NFC.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I don't think there's a question that it's the 2 best teams that are left, which is nice, because it's always that what if, right? If it was Dallas, well, I mean, we would this would be a much different tone in the podcast, I think, if it was Dallas, but yeah, but it's nice to have the 2 best teams for sure.
Yeah, I like to follow along to the comment sections, and this is something I keep seeing posted a lot, and people keep referencing the A.J. Brown game last year against the Niners when he was on the Titans, where he had 10 catches, 150 yards, and a touchdown. Our starting cornerbacks in that game were Josh Norman at his old ass of 35 years old, couldn't even keep up with them, and Ambry Thomas, who, he can't even get active. He was lucky. Anywho, so that's why when people try to throw out the A.J. Brown stats from last year, I'm like, this team has completely different cornerbacks. Charvarius Ward was a good pickup from the Chiefs. Yamador Lenore, our other corner, has been playing really good ball. Has 2 picks this postseason alone. So we'll see. It's going to be tough to keep the Eagles in check. It's going to be tough. I can't wait for tomorrow. I can't come fast enough.
I feel like everybody's overlooking Devontae Smith. He's going to be the sneaky weapon tomorrow afternoon per se.
Everybody's really overlooking Greg Ward, dude.
I don't know, man.
Yeah, postseason hero Greg Ward. Yeah.
Oh God. So we're getting to Eric's favorite part of the show, and I always like to present it as Eric's favorite part of the show. It's prediction time. I mean, it's time to talk. God. Put money in the mouth, and and say what we want to say, speak our mind. So who wants first dibs? We can't let the Niners guy go first.
I'm going to let somebody else go. Oh, I was going to let somebody else go first.
We can't let the Niners go first. Like it's not allowed. Like we got to say that.
You're good.
I can go first. That's fine. I got a lot that we even like touched on. I think one thing that we didn't get the chance to ask Nick is just how big of a loss that Charles Omenihu is going to be. Just that other side of the line across from Nick Bosa, who's obviously a tear. I think that the Eagles, that's one area that the Eagles can exploit is running the football in that direction. And just again, I wrote an article about this too, but just the threat of Jalen Hurts running is I hope that Sirianni finds the right kind of ways to present it to keep Nick Bosa honest. Is you got to keep him on that backside. You can't let him chase. If he's chasing from the backside, he's a tear. That guy blows up plays, right? So you got to keep him honest. You got to keep the play action going. You got to keep the run pass options going. You got to keep the run options going just to keep him honest and to keep him guessing, slow him down a little bit. But if the Eagles can get the run game going on offense, it's really just going to be about that next level. And these are two really, really good linebackers. And they're going to make you march down the field. You see with the defense of San Francisco, it's the yards might not be first in the league, but it's the points, right? They'll let you drive down the field. They'll make it hard on you, and then they just won't let you score. So then the red zone is going to be huge, and it's going to be huge on both sides. So you can't really afford to kick field goals in the playoffs. You got to score touchdowns. So it's really going to be about how creative Sirianni can get about finding ways to score on this defense, because once you get into those small quarters, you talked about those corners for the 49ers. They're playing a lot better than maybe they look on paper, but they really have been playing good. And then just the safety combo for the 49ers, I feel like is criminally underrated, just how good they are. Obviously, Hufanga gets talked about, but he's a game record too. There's just bright spots all over this defense. And then on the other side of the ball, I think the key is really just going to be how many times can they hit Brock Purdy. He's only hit twice against the Cowboys, and as much as they've thrown money at the Cowboys defensive line and edge rush, just without Micah Parsons, being a 4 sack a game guy, they just don't create the pressure that the Eagles do. The Eagles are set a record with the amount of 10 sack players. And it's just going to be about how much that gets in his head. This guy, Brock Purdy, we don't know how he's going to react to that. He's going to get hit. He's going to get hit a lot. He's going to get a lot of pressure. And then Jonathan Gannon is going to play a soft zone behind it. And if Brock Purdy can find Deebo Samuel and hit him in stride, that's a touchdown. Like that's what really worries me is Deebo Samuel. We don't have the corners. We don't have the safeties. It's going to be Chauncey Gardner-Johnson. He's great, but he doesn't have the flatline speed that Deebo Samuel has. They've also not been great against the run. So they've been better against smaller, shiftier backs. It's been the big backs that really do it to them. So I hope that Kaiser White and TJ Edwards, hopefully TJ Edwards is 100% healthy. I know I'm kind of going on a tangent, but there's so much that's going into this game.
For sure.
So I just feel like 1, you got to tackle Christian McCaffrey. 2, you can't let Deebo Samuel get out the gate. That's going to be the keys. And again, what Jonathan Gannon's going to do. He's going to play that soft zone. 49ers are a big zone team as well. So a big thing is just going to be that run pass option. It's going to be a lot of A.J. Brown on slants and see what he can do after the catch. Dallas Goedert's another key to this game. He's going to be a massive part of it. That all being said, I feel like it's going to be a game that just like that one play makes a big difference. Yep. And it's probably going to come down to the very last drive. And obviously I can't bet against the Eagles. So I'm going to go 28-26 Eagles. And the 26 is because the 49ers get two field goals and then they drive down the field and have to go for that 2-point conversion and don't get it. That's going to be the end. That's my prediction. Mm-hmm.
I'm riding with here's a score up front. I guess I'll do my best to kind of explain it. I'll give you a 28-20 Philadelphia Eagles over the 49ers. I think it's going to be a heavy defensive battle. I do not think that all the stars on both offenses are going to shine in a way that we think that they will. I think it's going to be a gritty game in terms of defense and in terms of, playing everything sort of short. I don't think quarterbacks are going to have a lot of time to drop back. I think the 49ers have a fast enough defense to adjust to Jalen Hurts running out of the pocket. So they're going to have to find ways to, kind of maneuver. If not for that game, it's going to be a makeshift sort of march downfield. Nothing's going to really be smooth for either team tomorrow. So 28-20 works in a way where I think there will be a few broken coverages and I think a few turnovers, and those kind of things will, really do the brunt of the scoring. I don't see a lot of long drives happening between either team successfully. So 28-20, few field goals here and there, but I do think there will be a gritty 2-point conversion towards the end of the game. And, you know how we love doing those in Philadelphia. So I think it will be probably close, come down to the fourth quarter, and we just want to put it out of the way. And it's going to be risky to go for it or not, but I think they will go for it. And I do think Kelsey is going to want it enough to get Hurts across. So, yeah, 28-20.
Yeah, I think it's really interesting. I got a similar score, but I think I got about it a little bit of a different way. So, for me, I'm thinking 27-24 Birds. I do think it's going to be close. I think that there's going to be a real cognitive battle for the time of possession. Yeah. And I think that even with how stout both of these defenses are, the Niners have a wonderful ability to run the ball. Having, hopefully Elijah Mitchell will be playing and having Christian McCaffrey back there as well. Deebo Samuel actually in the action back there as well. You can get a lot of those nice short range routes. I mean, you can pass out of the backfield, you can pass to Samuel, you can run slots all over the place. Like there's so much in that short medium game that San Francisco can work with. I think they can actually build sustainable drives against Philadelphia. And then on Philadelphia's end, we've seen them go methodical time and time again. And, maybe these aren't the same corners as from the A.J. Brown game last year. And yes, Tre'Davious Ward in particular has been an upgrade, but I think that there is still enough of I will call it a weakness, even though this is clearly one of the top teams in the NFC. Don't take me the wrong way in that 49ers secondary, that the Eagles are going to be able to pick up yards, 10, 15 here, there, something such as that every so often. So is it the 200-yard A.J. Brown game? I don't think it's going to be something like that, like, anything crazy like that. But I think they're going to be able to move it down the field, both, honestly, they may have a harder time running the ball against this 49ers team than they will getting it through the air. But I think time of possession is going to be key in the end, and it's going to come down to that in turnovers.
All right, Nick, this is your specialty, man. This is your moment.
All right. Well, it's hearing everybody talk. So the interior pressure is definitely something to worry about on the 49ers end. And this is where I think being in the same division as Aaron Donald is going to benefit the team a little bit, because I've seen Kyle Shanahan literally develop game plans where the ball is not getting thrown more than a yard beyond the line of scrimmage. So I'm going to ask you, how's the Eagles tackling been this year? Because that was one area I was actually very impressed with Dallas last week. Is as soon as they made contact with the 49ers, like they were dropping them. And I was like, whoa, this is the Yak team, right? You got George Kittle, Christian McCaffrey, Deebo Samuel, Brandon Ayuk. These are guys that flourish when the ball is in their hands. And I have not seen a team tackle as well as the Cowboys did this past week up until the second half. Then the hole started getting bigger and there were a lot more yards after contact. So I have seen Kyle Shanahan develop game plans where it's just, boom, Purdy's in shotgun, throw it, tunnel screen, Deebo Samuel, there he goes, 25 yards, So that's one area where I think that Kyle Shanahan's going to be ready for it. The ball is going to be coming out of Brock Purdy's hands quickly just to mitigate that pass rush, because you set all those astounding records, 70 sacks this season, 4 players, 10-plus sacks. It's such an impressive and pass rush that I feel like Kyle Shanahan is going to be ready to go. And I think having Aaron Donald in our division is going to help out with that a little bit. But it's going to be get the ball out of Brock Purdy's hands, let these playmakers make their plays in space, and see how well the Eagles cornerbacks and safeties can tackle. I really think that's going to be part of the game plan. And depending on how well they do, that's going to really play a huge part in the game. So that's one thing. Morgan, I also saw you brought up Charles Omenihu. I actually think Charles Omenihu is playing tomorrow. So from my understanding is that the team is letting the legal process play out, and they're comfortable with what he shared with the team and what they received from the police department for him to be able to be active tomorrow and play. So Charles Omenihu is in the game. And it's tough. I hate giving predictions because who's actually accurate with the scores, right? But
we don't like him either.
Because it's Eric. This is your special, right, Eric?
Yeah,
Eric's,
I'm the only one that likes it.
Yeah. But my prediction is that it's going to come down to the final drive, like a lot of us are sharing. And my guy, ice cold Robbie Gould, he's got ice in his veins. He hit the game winner in the blizzard last year in Green Bay to send us to the NFC Championship game. I think we'll win it on a last-second field goal. I got to say that, right? I'm obligated to. But what I want to see is just a good football game, neither side getting blown out. That Giants game last week, oh my gosh. I was just hoping for a competitive football game. I know I made you guys happy not having to sweat out a game in the divisional round like that. But it's going to be a close game for sure. And I'm just eager to see the chess game between Nick Sirianni and Kyle Shanahan and Gannon and DeMeco Ryans. That's must-see TV right there.
Absolutely.
Okay. It's interesting. Guys, this game is happening at the Link.
Yeah.
And it's going to be it's going to be 50 degrees in Philadelphia tomorrow. But we know that only one quarterback on that field sets his own temperature when he steps on the field. And to me, this is the Jalen Hurts game. Now, it's going to be a blowout. I don't believe so, and I would hate for it to be a blowout, honestly, because I'm looking for a slugfest. But I feel like this is the Jalen Hurts game. This is the moment that he's been waiting for in his whole career. I mean, from college, from high school, till now. This is the game where it's the welcoming party for Jalen Hurts. I've arrived. Now notice me. This is me. Defensively, I feel like it's going to be a slugfest. It's not going to be easy at all. But at the same time, it's these two teams faced off last year, and it was 17-11 San Francisco. Mm-hmm. So when they're not strangers to themselves, and to hold, in my opinion, to hold San Francisco from last year, I know they're not the same team as this year. It's only 2 touchdowns when Deebo Samuels went for 93 yards. Is pivotal because you have a better defense now. You have a Hassan Reddick who's a monster. You have Javon Hargrave. You have Fletcher Cox. You have a healthy Brandon Graham, Josh Sweat. You have CJ Gardner-Johnson in the backfield. Kaiser White. And you have the depth for it as well. You have a Nakobe Dean who's fresh, who we've seen when he's tackling. Vontae Maddox is back, and Reed Blankenship, who's been a phenomenal stand-in. But it's hard for me to say to go into this game and look at it okay, yeah, the 49ers, they're a damn good team. Don't get me wrong, they're a very good freaking team. They're America's team, in my opinion. They're America's sweetheart. Let's call it that, right?
Certainly not the Cowboys.
Definitely not the Cowboys. But the Eagles are America's rejects. They're America's outcasts. And they've known this all season long, since week 1. We've known this. Since the moment that we drafted Jalen Hurts and traded Carson Wentz away. This has been, part of our DNA for centuries, for decades. I'm going Philly 24, San Francisco 17, and I think it ends with a defensive stand. I think it ends with Brock Purdy just getting hit too much. Because to me, it's so hard to contain a guy like Hassan Reddick, who's going to distract the offensive line more than most players have against the 49ers. And then you have Josh Sweat coming on the edge. You have Javon Pound in the middle. You Fletcher Cox, who we haven't even spoken about, and Jordan Davis. This game, I feel like it comes down to the wire. It comes down to fourth quarter. It comes down to a final defensive stand where the defense makes a move. The defense shows why they shouldn't be counted out. I think Philly wins it 23-17.
Perfect.
I know Nick doesn't agree with me over there.
No, you're good.
Hey, I would have played that in the locker room.
Everybody on here picked their team to win. I'm shocked.
Of course, yeah, we have.
Yeah.
I was expecting one of you guys to say the 49ers will win, actually. I'm so surprised.
I can't bet against them again. I got messages. I said the Vikings would win.
Of course.
So Eric and
Morgan had a move.
To that point though, because I did predict against the Eagles once this season, but that was honestly the only time that I felt it. I go with my gut. I try to be as unbiased as possible. I do believe that Philadelphia will win tomorrow by 8 points. They will 8 points. Philadelphia.
I think it's a low scoring game. I don't think there's gonna be that many points on the board.
I think so.
I think it's everything.
Fuck you, Vegas. 2.5. No chance.
Yeah.
I think it's everything.
I'm taking Vegas to WrestleMania. I'm on the road to WrestleMania. I'm taking Vegas with me.
I think it'll be a chess game between Sirianni and Shanahan. It's definitely gonna be one. And you have DeMeco Ryans returning to Philly. Mufasa will always be one of us, no matter what. Against Gannon, it's huge. In my opinion, like it's freaking huge. It's gonna be a big chess game. I just don't think there's a lot of points on that are gonna be on the board.
So is Jalen Hurts healthy? Is that shoulder anything to worry about, and could it play any role in this game, or are you guys like, no, he's good to go? Like we're not.
So
if
the
he got
situation
hit
with
hard, if he got hit hard and he landed on,
Yeah,
that,
you could knock it loose, but it's pretty much fine for now.
Yeah.
but even when it was
he's
loose, he
hurt,
threw
not
a
injured.
50 like a 40-yard
Yeah,
bomb.
exactly.
AJ Brown like it doesn't even matter if he's healthy or not. Like you're not taking that kid out the game.
Yeah,
He hurt AJ Brown by throwing the ball too far. Absolutely.
Oh yeah, about that too.
I think yeah, he's good to go. Like the only way that he would be hurt by the shoulder is if he got hurt the same way, like the new injury.
I guess like my question, obviously he's going to play. Like there's no doubt he's not playing, right? But
you just mean like he's gonna be that effective.
When he's dropping back, like is he like full range of motion? Do you think he's going to miss any throws because of his shoulder? Do you think he's locked in? All right.
No, yeah,
it's not the throwing they've been.
Oh, it's the left arm, right? It's the left.
It's been tackled. They're worried about him getting tackled. So as long as he's sliding, he's not getting hit too much in the pocket, which he very well could. But if he gets driven into the ground on that shoulder, that's when it'll become an issue. But
for sure.
I think, that's what I've been talking about. Tackling is a great point. I really hope they fucking tackle tomorrow. I will be yelling at my TV if the Eagles can't tackle tomorrow.
Oh, that was my next question. Are you guys going to the game tomorrow? Or are y'all watching from home?
I will be watching from home with my friend who is actually a Jaguars fan. So when when Dougie P isn't there, I can convert him to be an Eagles fan. So I'll be watching with him.
Nice.
Nice.
I'm in Canada, so I'm.
Oh, okay.
Oh, you're not making the trip, Morgan?
Unfortunately not.
Not for $800 a ticket.
It would have been a closer trip than Nick had, and he was considering it. So maybe I'm not really Eagles fan.
Not for $800 a ticket and nosebleeds.
No, for sure.
Yeah,
I'm a stay from home. I'm a homebody when it comes to that.
I was hoping I was hoping there'd be like a Flipping the Birds draw that I could enter for tickets or something like that.
Oh,
it would have came out of your pocket.
We don't have that kind of pull.
It's like we should be sponsored by somebody who can make that happen.
Yeah, that sucks.
Yeah.
Sure.
None of your girlfriends have, father owns a major company we could work with, like Fanatics or like that. No. Oh, look at Zach's eyes. Hold on.
Anyone in the Rubin family? You said Fanatics, and now I'm thinking Rubin. That opens so many doors. So Morgan, get on that. Find somebody.
Yeah. I'll send you a message after the pod. Don't worry.
Damn. Well, Nick, we appreciate you coming on, honestly, man, and thank you for giving us everything on the 49ers. And if by any chance Eagles and 49ers meet next season, we'll definitely love to have you back on.
Oh, of course, man.
But my main ask is if win or lose, and you do go on a rant on your page. All right, I actually you take it easy on birds, all right?
Yeah, I'll take it easy on you guys. I enjoyed talking ball with you guys. You guys are awesome. Thank you for having me on. I hit you guys all with follows on Twitter.
I appreciate it, man.
I appreciate the dialogue. It was a great conversation. That was awesome.
Hey, before you go,
I do have one last question. Go ahead, Morgan.
Yeah,
I was
two
just gonna
questions.
say, make sure to shut yourself out so people can come follow you.
Absolutely.
Probably don't have a bunch of 49ers that don't already follow you in the chat.
Of course, no. I got my Twitter handle up. That's where all my work's at for the most part. So as long as you have me on Twitter, my link tree's there to everything that I do. So it's the easiest place to find me.
Cool.
Good stuff. So, all right, one thing I wanted to ask before we go. So the Rocky statue, right?
I try not
knowing
bringing
what
that
happened. No, I purposely wanted to bring it up. So knowing what happened to the Vikings, where do you stand on that whole Niners fans doing that this time around? Like, are you for it, against it? Or where do you stand?
I don't know. I mean, yeah, I didn't know what happened with the Vikings. Someone said that in my comment section yesterday, but I know that when I didn't go to the trip to Philadelphia last year, but the people that I know that were there said the same thing happened where they stormed the Rocky building and they were making their presence felt. I don't have a strong opinion about it one way or the other. If Philly came out here and started putting jerseys up on our statues, I'd be out there defending the statue. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it's just fun banter. I just hope that fans were respectful and not disrespecting the Philadelphia fans. And
it's all in good faith.
I hope no one's graffitiing or tagging it or anything like that. It's out of pocket. But
San Francisco wouldn't exist anymore if that happened.
Yeah.
So
one thing we can definitely just say, and everybody could kind of vouch for this, is that Niners fans are going to have a good time before the game at the tailgates, because I feel like Philly's tailgates are second to none, and they're actually.
Sure.
If you go to the right ones, they're extremely welcoming. It's pretty dope.
Yeah.
So
You guys are just making me more and more jealous. I could still technically fly.
Still time.
This is
Still time.
overnight, bro.
Out at 11. I was going to catch a red eye leaving here at 11:50, landing in Philly 7 a.m. tomorrow morning.
Oh, you got plenty of time.
Yeah.
That's actually prime time from the airport.
You could walk.
To the stadium. Yeah.
Oh gosh, man. Now I have to reconsider.
We're bad influences. Oh God. But yeah, thanks for coming on, Nick. We really appreciate it, man.
I appreciate
and
you guys.
good luck to you guys tomorrow.
Yeah, good luck. Good luck. It's gonna be a good one. Take care now.
Take it easy, man.
Yep.
Guys, so there you got it. Our predictions and our possible final stats for the NFC Championship game. This could be either the second to last podcast of the season or third to last podcast of the season. We don't know, but this is going to be a phenomenal game.
I have a feeling, let me just put this out there. I have a feeling that if the Eagles win tomorrow, a lot of people are going to be buying Avonte Maddox jerseys. I'm just putting that out there.
Number 29.
That's my prediction.
Or putting the tape on the LeGarrette Blount jerseys.
Yeah, there you go. Easy. That's easy.
You can do that, or you can just, buy the best quarterback jersey in the history of time, Randall Cunningham.
Strange timing, man. Strange timing.
Wait, wrong time to bring up that. Okay, well, we'll save that for the last one of the season then, on purpose.
Oh God. But anyways, guys, thank you for coming on. We've had a good solid people in the comments section today and in the watch. We appreciate everybody that's just been tagging along for the last hour. We'll be back next week, whether it's Tuesday or another day, possibly. I'm not gonna say it. I'm not gonna jinx it. We'll be back next week at some point, depending on what happens tomorrow. We'll be back. But I'm Brian Cameron alongside Eric Reese, Zach Chavalella, Morgan Burkett, and we're flipping the birds.
Go Birds!
Yes, sir.
For the second.